Content warning. The following video contains material that may be harmful or traumatizing to some audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
Bright badge, dark car, slower past the schoolyard fence. Hand on the belt, hand on the gun, teeth in the grin, cold intent. Respect my voice or I'll teach you what I can do. Kids freeze up cause they've seen it on the late night news. Predator cops in a press blue suit, figure of authority, polished boots. Power makes kids obey, heads down afraid. One chip or justice, that's what I say. Life in prison, toss the key, leave kids alone, let them run free. Leave kids alone, leave kids alone. News clip, bad tape, another name scrolling by too fast. Anchor smile, shrug it off. Few bad apples and cut to ads. Sirens in the playground, turn hopscotch into hiding spots. Parent at the chain link, counting every tiny heartbeat lost. Predator cops in a press blue suit, figure of authority, polished boots. Power makes kids obey, heads down afraid. Wood chipper justice, that's what I say. Life in prison, toss the key, leave kids alone, let them run free. Leave kids alone, leave kids alone. How many uniforms standing on a child's throat? How many quiet rooms where a kid won't speak, just choke? You want respect? Then answer for the harm you've done. Bars and bars and bars till the damage starts to come undone. Predator cops in a press blue suit, figure of authority, polished boots. Power makes kids obey, heads down afraid. One chip or justice, that's what I say. Life in prison, toss the key, leave kids alone, let them run free. Leave kids alone, leave kids alone.
Just when you thought you could turn your back and walk away, the dark cloud of human indignity follows you. You have no choice but to turn and look it in the eye. It's the sex offender hit list.
Breaking news right off the top of the Fox 8 6 o'clock news. Former Greensboro police officer Joshua Oliver was convicted today on all sex offense charges he was facing. His trial started this week and ended with the jury returning the guilty verdict. Guilty of 6 counts of indecent liberties with a minor. Oliver will serve a minimum of 64 years in prison. Now, this is video from one of his previous court proceedings back in 2023. He was charged in January of 2023 for crimes investigators say happened in 2020, 2021, and 2022. Investigators say Oliver sexually abused a minor who was under the age of 13 for 2 years. Oliver was put on administrative duty after the police department learned of the allegations and was later terminated after Chief John Thompson learned more about the case. Oliver had worked with the department since 2016, and in May of 2023, his wife, Crystal Oliver, pleaded guilty to contributing to the delinquency of a juvenile in relation to this case.
All right, Kaylee, we'll see you in just a bit. Our top story today at noon, a former Walbridge police officer charged with statutory rape is facing new charges this afternoon. The Ottawa County Major Crimes Unit says Austin Sabo was indicted on 2 counts of rape, 2 counts of sexual battery, 3 counts of unlawful sexual conduct with a minor, and a slew of other sexual charges related to minors, for a total of 21 indictments. Law enforcement says multiple victims have been identified. We do know one is a 12-year-old. Sabo was fired from the Walbridge Police Department in November. He's in court later this month for a pretrial hearing.
Take a good look at your screen. We're learning this morning, this former man on your screen, he's a longtime employee for the Cobb County Sheriff's Office. Well, this morning he's off the job facing charges for aggravated child molestation. Ivan Munoz was the department for 25 years as a criminal justice specialist. Fox 5 Atlanta's Brooke Zahner joining us live this morning from the Cobb County Detention Center with more on the accusations that led to this arrest. Brooke, good morning.
Yeah, good morning to you, Gina. And when the Cobb County Sheriff found out about this investigation and the charges that went along with it, he says that he fired this individual immediately.
And you never know, who's, living next door.
A shocking arrest in Marietta this week. Police say 44-year-old Ivan Munoz, a criminal justice specialist with the Cobb County Sheriff's Office, is behind bars without bond.
It is an ultimate irony that that individual went from being a 20-plus year employee to now being housed there as an inmate being held without bond.
Marietta police say the 44-year-old was arrested late Tuesday night after a young girl told members of her church that she had been molested twice over the weekend. According to the arrest warrant, Munoz is accused of sexually assaulting an 8-year-old victim multiple times on April 11th at a home in Marietta.
Took advantage of that relationship and victimized this young 8-year-old female.
There's not words to explain, but it's just people that you know for years. His kids used to come over and just play with my nephews, play outside.
Cobb County Sheriff Craig Owens says after being briefed on the investigation and the charges, Munoz was immediately fired. In a statement, the sheriff said these are particularly egregious charges and his behavior goes against everything we stand for in law enforcement.
Now, Munoz is facing 2 counts of aggravated child molestation. He is currently being held here at the Cobb County Detention Center without bail. That's the latest here live in Cobb County. I'm Brooke Zahner reporting for Live Now from Fox.
Brooke, thank you so much for joining our show to keep the viewers informed. And really quickly, I want to ask you, I know with these type of investigations, many times the Sheriff's Department and officials, they will urge people to reach out if they have also been a victim in case this wasn't a one-time isolated incident. Is that the same with this case right here?
To my knowledge, it would be. We didn't really get a lot of details about them, but of course, when it comes to law enforcement, if you see something, say something, or if you know something might be going on, to certainly come forward.
All right. Always Stella reporting. Brooke Zahner there with Fox 5 Atlanta. Thank you so much, Brooke. Have a great rest of your day.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Turning now to Auburn tonight, where a police officer is among 10 arrested in a child predator sting operation. WBZ's David Wade joins us now in studio with what we know right now. David.
Yeah, Courtney, in this 2-week-long operation, 10 people ranging in age from 21 to 67 were arrested, accused of traveling to a prearranged location by law enforcement in the Berkshires. The suspects allegedly intended to pay money in exchange for sex with individuals under the age of 16. Among those arrested was Auburn police officer Dominic Boschetto. The 31-year-old from Brookfield had been an officer since 2023. He was immediately placed on administrative leave, and the department will conduct an internal investigation into the matter. In a statement, Auburn's police chief said in part, "We work hard every day to maintain the public's trust, and while this matter is extremely concerning, it is not a reflection of the hardworking men and women of the Auburn Police Department as a whole." Now, all of the suspects in this case were ordered to be held on various bail conditions, but they're being held tonight. Courtney?
WBZ's David Wade joining us live in the studio tonight. David, thank you.
Shockwaves through the local law enforcement community as one of their own is now facing charges, accused of inappropriately talking to a teenage girl. The suspect in the case, 35-year-old Mark Lugo, a detective with the Bakersfield Police Department. The Kern County Sheriff's Office saying it started off as a cyber tip from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, who identified an Instagram account that had, quote, engaged in explicit communications with a 15-year-old girl from South Carolina. Detectives would later link that Instagram account to Lugo. Records obtained by the sheriff's office show Lugo had inappropriately talked with the teenage girl, reportedly encouraging the juvenile victim to send explicit material. The investigation leading to a search warrant at Lugo's home, which was served by detectives with KCSO's Special Victims Unit. The U.S. Secret Service and Homeland Security also helping in the case. Lugo, a 13-year veteran with Bakersfield Police, has since been placed on administrative leave. No longer listed in custody on the sheriff's office website, but 3 charges remain: contacting a minor with intent to commit a sexual offense, possession of obscene material depicting a minor, and the use or possession of obscene sexual material involving a minor. Bakersfield Police Chief Greg Terry releasing this video statement on social media.
The allegations against Detective Lugo are deeply disturbing and do not reflect the values of our department or the expectations of our community.
Terry adding that they trust the judicial process and that they will be cooperating with the sheriff's office investigation.
This is a difficult time, but our commitment to serving you with compassion, accountability, and professionalism remains unwavering. We will continue working every day to ensure your safety and uphold the trust that you place in us.
Chief Terry also adding that they will conduct their own internal investigation as part of the Bakersfield Police Department policy.
Holland County Sheriff's deputy has been convicted of sexual abuse charges. The state police and West Virginia Department of Health and Human Resources began investigating Christopher W. Bennett after receiving allegations of sexual assault and abuse. According to the Greenbrier County Sheriff's Office, he was immediately placed on leave to, quote, ensure the integrity of the investigation and the safety of the community, end quote. The Sheriff's Office also launched its own internal investigation. On January 3rd, Bennett entered a guilty plea to first-degree sexual abuse charges. The Greenbrier Sheriff's Office says it does not tolerate behavior like Bennett's and is continuing to prioritize the safety and well-being of its citizens.
New at 6, the ABC 7 News I-Team reveals new details about the Belmont police officer recently arrested for rape. It is not his first arrest. Good evening, I'm Amma Dates.
And I'm Dan Ashley. The I-Team has learned that the Belmont police officer arrested for rape last week had an arrest for domestic violence several years ago before he became an officer.
And that's raising questions whether he should have been hired at the Belmont PD in the first place.
ABC 7 News I-Team reporter Dan Noyes is here with an investigation you will see only on 7. Dan.
Well, Dan and Amma, I have new information on his previous arrest and his immigration status. I've confirmed Felipe Gomes is not a U.S. citizen, but has a work permit, so he is allowed to serve as a police officer in this state under a recent law signed by Governor Gavin Newsom.
Really exciting time for us. And
just 4 months ago, Belmont Police Chief Ken Stenquist presented his new recruits, including 35-year-old Felipe Carlo Gomes.
He was in the Brazilian Air Force, part of the Air Force Police. He was a full-time police soldier and left that position when he moved to the United States. He enjoys practicing jiu-jitsu and attending church when he's not working.
Last week, Redwood City Police arrested Gomes at the Belmont Police Headquarters on Penal Code 261A1, rape of someone who was incapable of giving legal consent due to a mental disorder. Before he hired Gomes, the I-Team has learned that Chief Stenquist received phone calls from the San Mateo County Sheriff's Office and East Palo Alto Police warning him that both agencies had rejected Gomes because of his domestic violence arrest in 2017.
When a department head calls you and says something's wrong, take a closer look, or don't hire someone, you should take a closer look.
Court records show that Gomes and his wife were on vacation from their home in Brazil at this Ramada Inn in Kissimmee, Florida. The charging affidavit says they'd been married a year when Gomes spotted texts on his wife's cell phone from an ex-boyfriend and that he struck her repeatedly in the face and stomach. An officer wrote that he observed a large bruise that covered most of his wife's left cheek and scratches to her right cheek. The records say Gomes accused her of hitting and scratching him first, so the state attorney charged both of them with battery domestic violence before dropping the charges a month later. Belmont Chief Stenquist defended hiring Gomes, emailing me, past law enforcement contact that does not result in charges are not disqualifying in of itself under policies or applicable law.
In these special victim domestic violence cases, the charges are dropped. They're dropped because the victims have a change of heart. Any number of reasons.
Former San Francisco police commander and head of recruitment Rich Correa tells me the incident should be disqualifying, even though the case was dropped.
You don't want someone who, in a family setting, violence is a place they can escalate to. You want just the opposite. You want natural de-escalators.
Law enforcement sources also tell me Felipe Gomes is not a U.S. citizen. SB 960, sponsored by former state Senator Nancy Skinner, allows immigrants to be officers if they have a green card, visa, or permanent residency. Gomes is here on a work permit.
You must be a person who's legally authorized to work, so you have that legal paperwork. And then in California, if this bill passes, you would be able to be a sworn officer.
Governor Gavin Newsom signed the bill in September 2022. Rich Correa tells me a newly arrived immigrant has lots to learn about our system of justice and civil rights.
So you better make sure that you are hiring people that get the many nuances of the role of a police officer. There's no one else, as far as I know, in our entire society that carries a gun and has the authority to shoot you under certain circumstances.
Several other states have similar laws to ours, but in many cases, local police departments still require an officer to be a U.S. citizen. By the way, Gomes has been fired. I reached him here and his wife in Brazil. Neither wanted to comment for the story. Redwood City Police are supposed to be sending the Gomes case to the San Mateo DA's office by this coming Friday. So we'll find out more at that point.
You'll follow up there. So in addition to some of these red flags, these warnings, you can be a police officer in this state and not be a U.S. citizen.
It was a surprise to me.
I didn't know that.
I had no idea until I started to research the story, and that is the case.
That's interesting.
But it's interesting. Some states, though, that have the same rule, the local departments refuse to follow it, and they require their members to be citizens. So even though the state may have the law, the local departments sometimes don't follow.
Oh, did not know it. Thank you, Dan, very much.
And you can get in touch with the ABC 7 News I-Team by going to abc7news.com/I-Team.
A Belvedere police officer is arrested on sexual assault charges. 52-year-old Robert Kozlowski is accused of criminal sexual assault and criminal sexual abuse. The rape was reported to Belvedere police last March. Kozlowski was off duty when the alleged assault occurred. Yesterday, a Boone County grand jury indicted Kozlowski. He turned himself in today. He is on paid administrative leave. He's been on the Belvedere force for 18 years. Illinois State Police are investigating.
Now this afternoon, we're turning to a really disturbing story out of Will County. A sheriff's correctional officer is under investigation of sexual assault of a child.
He was in court today for 2 criminal felony charges. Lexi Suter reports from the home where he was taken into custody.
Daniel Harrod was in court in the Will County Courthouse this morning, but what we learned there has led us to his neighborhood in Elwood. We've been speaking with neighbors who say they woke up early Thursday morning and heard an explosion, followed by a flurry of police officers. Here's a video that shows what unfolded. Several police officers, including the Department of Homeland Security, arriving at Harrod's home to execute a search warrant following that explosion. All of this in the 6 a.m. hour on Meadowbrook Road in Elwood.
We heard the big boom. I didn't know that's what was going on. It's kind of nerve-wracking when I got little kids that walk around here and run around, and that's not good having that in your neighborhood.
Why there was an explosion inside the home, police aren't giving us details about that. But we do know Harrod, who is a correctional officer, is facing charges for predatory sexual assault on a child. The state's attorney confirms to NBC5 there is one victim.
That means you can't trust nobody, right? These are people we use to select and protect our neighborhoods, and you're actually a predator. We don't like predators where I'm from.
Harrod is accused of sexual assault of a child under the age of 13 since May 9th of 2021.
That's shocking to hear that.
I did speak with a woman inside the family home today who said no comment. We will see Harrod back in court next week on April 3rd. Lexi Suter, NBC5 News.
Thank you, Lexi.
Now to a follow-up on a story that we first brought you yesterday. A Springfield police officer suspended after allegations of sexual assault arose from one of the teen girls he coached at a high school in Somers, Connecticut. Western Mass News reporter Reagan Locree joins us live in studio with some of the new details that she uncovered. Reagan.
Yeah, that's right, Chris. I spent the day going through court documents, and there are some disturbing allegations made against suspended Springfield officer Justin Perez, including nude Snapchats allegedly sent to the victim, as well as a pretty incriminating search history from his cell phone. 27-year-old Springfield police officer Justin Perez was arrested in Connecticut this week. Based on an investigation dating to last October, Connecticut State Police on Tuesday arresting the officer, who is also a former assistant coach at Summers High School. His alleged victim, a 15-year-old girl, told her team's head coach, who only found out after trying to convince her to rejoin the team this school year. The head coach reported Perez to police. According to court documents obtained by Western Mass News, she told the coach she would only rejoin if they could keep Perez away from her. Summers High School parents sharing their reaction.
Oh, that's not good. Let the courts handle that. That's absolutely horrible to hear something like that.
According to court documents, Perez allegedly sent the victim Snapchats asking her to, quote, link up. The victim stated that Perez sent her videos of him in the shower, as well as pictures. These images were allegedly sent before her 16th birthday in January. The victim claims Perez was looking forward to her turning 16, as it was not a big deal, in that 16 is not as bad. The victim was allegedly able to save what's called a sticker of one of these images, which is a way to save a small version of a larger photo on Snapchat without the sender knowing. The victim allegedly never sent any explicit photos back, but she claims Perez would say things like, "Just show me your body, it's hot." According to police documents, after obtaining a search warrant for Perez's phone, as well as his Snapchat, they found evidence pertaining to statements made by the victim, including a clear trail of communication between Perez and the victim, as well as multiple saved videos and photos of male genitalia matching the contents of what the victim described. Perez also has a large number of screenshots or photos of unknown high school females. Many of those were photos of the victim. Police also found some incriminating searches when looking through Perez's internet history, including adult child pornography laws, Connecticut, sending nudes to minor in CT, can law enforcement see Snapchat, inappropriate text messages, 16-year-old, can you save Snapchat text without me knowing, age of consent for kissing in CT. And as we reported Wednesday, the victim claims Perez tried to kiss her during a strength and conditioning practice in an area of the school where there were no cameras. One Summers High School student sharing their reaction to these allegations.
It's like crazy. You see it like on the news, but then you don't like expect it to happen in like your school, and then when it does, it's like, wow, it's like a real thing.
In a statement from the mother of the victim, she told police her daughter claims when they were on the blank mat, the assistant coach would hold her down, grinding on her, and rub blank against her and whisper, "I know you like this." The victim's mother said that he was trying to get her daughter to go to the back of the bus to blank at one of the meets. The victim stated that while weighing in, her and another female were in an enclosed room with nothing but a bra and Nike Pro shorts on. Perez allegedly tried to get into the room to put his shoes away. The victim explains that the head coach had to hold the door closed from the outside so that Perez did not get inside. The victim also described another incident that happened before the team went away overnight for an out-of-town tournament. The victim alleges Perez was trying to get an overnight room so that they could have sex. The victim says that she declined this invitation and she ended up not going, and says she later found out that Perez also did not go because he was having a baby that weekend. Perez denies these allegations, sharing shock that so many witnesses from the team came forward to corroborate the victim's allegations against him. Now, it's worth noting that the victim's father also told police he noticed a change in his daughter coinciding with the times of these alleged incidents occurred, adding that he noticed Perez was friendly with other parents while acting standoffish towards him. Perez currently faces several charges and has been suspended from the Springfield Police Department by the Post Commission. Reporting live in studio, Reagan Locrete for Western Mass News.
We're learning more about the death of interim chief of the Cowlitz Tribal Public Safety Department and the new crime that he is accused of. Today, the Clark County Sheriff's Office announced a criminal investigation into Charles Gardner involving sex crimes believed to involve children. The investigation started back on April 24th when deputies were called to reports of a burglary at a home on Northeast 79th Street in Vancouver. Deputies say there is no indication of a burglary and say a caller found Gardner in their home and got into a physical fight with him before he left. They say after leaving the home, Gardner killed himself. We did reach out to the Cowlitz Indian tribe for comment. In response, a spokesperson for the tribe said this new information is shocking and deeply painful to the Cowlitz Indian tribe and our members, and we are all grappling with what has come to light. Deputies are not releasing any information at this time about who the victim in the sex crimes case may be.
Well, a former Mississippi police officer has been arrested on charges of enticing a child. Amaris Howard was taken into custody by the Panola County Sheriff's Office. Howard was certified a few weeks ago as an officer with the Sardis Police Department. Investigators say he is charged with 3 counts of enticement of a child. Both the Sheriff's Office and Sardis Police would not comment on the investigation.
And now, a follow-up.
Something else we're following this morning. Right now, a former Town and Country police sergeant is charged with child sex crimes.
Prosecutors say Jeffrey Wolf sexually assaulted a young boy between 2023 and 2024. Our Robert Townsend looked through court documents to bring us the latest details.
Stunning allegations against former Town and Country police sergeant Jeffrey Wolf are now coming to light. According to a probable cause statement, a boy told investigators Wolf molested him at a Jefferson County home. During an interview, the boy told police the alleged sexual abuse occurred around October 2023 until July 2024. The child stated, quote, Wolf would allow him extra time to play videos or give him dessert in exchange for sexual acts. The victim also said Wolf would place a time limit on the inappropriate touching and it would last 5 or 10 minutes. It's unclear how long Jeffrey Wolf had been with the Town and Country Police Department.
Court papers also reveal Wolf previously told the victim that he would hurt him if he disclosed the abuse. Wolf will...
And now, a follow-up.
Detroit police officers now facing charges for allegedly sending inappropriate text messages to a young girl in Warren. CBS News Detroit's Elaine Rojas Castillo joins us now from the Warren Police Department headquarters with the latest on that investigation.
Even though he's a police officer, no corners were cut here. Justice was served, justice was held, and he's going to be held accountable for his actions in the court of law.
Law enforcement leaders in Warren are still piecing together what led to the charges against a Detroit police officer for allegedly sending inappropriate text messages to a 12-year-old girl.
Although he's innocent until proven guilty, this is a very serious case because it sends a message about trust.
On Tuesday, the Macomb County Prosecutor's Office charged Earl Anderson Jr. with accosting a child for immoral purposes, a 4-year felony. The 37-year-old officer is accused of sending messages found during an investigation conducted last month, after a report from a parent who alleged the officer sent sexually explicit text messages to their 12-year-old daughter.
This little girl now has to still grow up and have to deal with these issues in this. The family has to deal with it. But what's worse is it's a person that's in a position of trust, and that I will not tolerate.
In their investigation, the Warren Police Department's Special Victims Division found that Anderson sent numerous, quote, sexualized messages to the child during late night and early morning hours. Police say while the messages were later deleted by Anderson, who told the victim to do so as well, they were able to recover them, which confirmed her account of what happened.
Doing the right thing isn't always easy, but in this case, it resulted in somebody being taken off the streets who was sending inappropriate messages to minor children.
Detroit police say Anderson is suspended from duty while police investigate, and they're currently submitting paperwork to have the officer removed from payroll as well. Anderson's bond is currently set at $200,000, with his next court appearance scheduled for March 18th. In Warren, Elaine Rojas Castillo, CBS News Detroit.
Former state police officer will spend more than 7 years in federal prison on child porn charges. The U.S. Attorney for New Mexico says 45-year-old Sammy Coulter of Carlsbad knowingly possessed sexually explicit images of children from late 2023 to early 2024. He must also pay $52,000 in restitution to the victims and must register as a sex offender once he's released.
We have our first look at the New Mexico State Police sergeant accused of having child pornography on his cell phone. This is Sam Clothier in the photo from the Carl's Current Argus. Now, back in April, the FBI got a tip that images of an apparent child sexual abuse were linked to Clothier's phone number. Officials say they later found more than 30 explicit images of children under the age of 10 on his phone. Clothier apparently admitted to investigators he had been looking at those pictures for quite some time. Clothier is now on administrative leave.
And tonight, an update in the arrest of a former Bartow police officer accused of sexual misconduct against teenage girls. Mark Anthony Fernandez was sentenced last week after taking a plea deal. Last year, Fernandez was accused of videotaping sex acts with 4 teenage girls. A 16-year-old also told investigators he choked her. The Bartow Police Department then fired Fernandez after his arrest. Another woman came forward, but those charges were dropped. On Thursday, Fernandez pleaded guilty to giving alcohol to someone under the age of 21, child abuse, and unlawful use of two-way communication device. He'll get credit for time served on several of the charges, but will be on probation once released. Under the deal, prosecutors dropped several charges, including false imprisonment and the use of a child in a sexual performance. Since all charges related to the sex crimes were dropped, he will not have to register as a sex offender.
First at 5:30 tonight, Fall River police are reviewing an officer's employment status after Boston police arrested him during an undercover operation. He is now facing human trafficking charges. Hi, I'm Emily Voles.
And hello once again, everyone. I'm Dan Janik. NBC 10's Kennedy Bach breaks down the shocking accusations tonight.
It's something you don't expect from people sworn to protect and serve their community.
They're the people that we depend on to prevent stuff like that, and now they're involved in it. It's just ridiculous.
Disturbing accusations involving 29-year-old Fall River police officer Mitchell Walsh has the department currently reviewing his employment status. The officer was arrested Friday night in Boston during an undercover operation. They say Walsh responded to an ad posted online in a space used for sex with human trafficking victims. He arrived to a location believing he was meeting up with someone 15 years old, but it was an undercover police officer.
Defendant began texting the undercover officer, saying things like, "Let's do this tonight, I got stuff."
Walsh pleaded not guilty, but faces charges including enticement of a child under 16. At the time of his arrest, he was on leave from the Fall River Police Department.
He has been on leave due to substance use issue.
This gentleman was brought in a few chiefs ago, and I don't know how he slipped through the cracks, or if he was fine. I don't know if something happened to him that caused this kind of a breakdown, but we don't need this kind of behavior from anybody in the city of Fall River.
Fall River's chief of police released a statement over the weekend saying these allegations goes against the values they expect from members of the department. His current status remains under review, but he was held on a $5,000 cash bail, and he must stay away from children under 18.
We take this stuff very, very seriously, and if it's true, I doubt he'll be a policeman for very long, but that won't be my call.
In Fall River, Kennedy Buck, NBC 10 News.
Now, a former Temple police officer was sentenced to 8 years in prison for sex crimes against children. That's according to online court records. This afternoon, a judge found Brandon Matthews guilty for child sex abuse material. He also found Matthews guilty for invasive recording in a bathroom or dressing room. The former police officer joined Temple PD in 2014 and was arrested in 2019. He is currently in the Bell County Jail.
We now know why former Bayou La Battery police officer William B.J. Squires was arrested yesterday on a trespassing charge. Police tell Fox 10 News Squires was walking with his child in Westside Park on Hit Road when police got a call of a person trespassing. Police say Squires had been previously told not to come back to the park. Today, the DA's office filed a motion to revoke his bond because he violated his bond conditions. He has a bond hearing on the new charge tomorrow. Now, you may remember Squires was indicted on charges of rape and sexual abuse last year. Court records say Squire has an arraignment set for April on the sex charges.
A former Big Rapids police officer could spend decades in prison. He was sentenced today for sexually abusing a young family member.
Ryan Dornbos was charged last year with court documents saying the abuse happened for years.
13 Your Side's Callie Lichter was in court. And Callie, did anyone speak today?
Yes, Elena and Juliet, the victim and her mother were teary-eyed as they told Dornbos what he did to the victim will live with her forever.
Former Big Rapids police officer Ryan Dornbos was solemn in court Tuesday as he learned he will spend at least 10 years in prison for sexually abusing a young family member. Dornbos pled no contest to sexually abusing the family member for years at a home in Newaygo County.
No contest basically means you are guilty, but you just don't want to admit it. You know what you did, but you don't want to admit it, so you don't have to be in prison longer. You're disgusting.
With support from her mother, the young victim took the stand, addressing Dornbos before he was sentenced. The family and the judge agreed to let us use her voice on air.
I trusted you and I loved you. I lost that trust, but hope I cannot let you ruin my life. You deserve more than 10 years.
Her mother also took the stand, saying all her daughter wanted was a paternal figure in her life, which Dornbos took advantage of.
She's somebody's daughter. She's my daughter, and she was your daughter. You were a police officer. You were a father, and you molested your daughter.
But for Dornbos's attorney, quote, allegations submitted to the judge he believes unfairly targeted his client.
This is not a stoning. And everybody who has a problem with my client doesn't get to pick up a stone and throw something at him.
Dornbos took a plea deal in February, which had a mandatory minimum of 10 years in prison. Judge Robert Springstead felt anything different would be a disservice to the victim and for Dornbos.
This is a sentence that was negotiated between the attorneys who had the most information available to them.
He sentenced Dornbos to the mandatory minimum with a maximum imprisonment of 40 years.
Dornbos must register as a sex offender and is subject to lifetime electronic monitoring. In the newsroom, I'm Kelly Lichter, 13 on your side.
Well, moving on now to developing news back here in Acadiana out of Church Point. That's where this former police officer is under arrest for alleged child molestation. 57-year-old Shane Grunstrom resigned from the Church Point Police Department earlier this month ahead of the charges being filed. He's in jail tonight on a $100,000 bond for 2 counts of child molestation.
A former Kirtland police officer has pled guilty to sexually assaulting a woman while on duty and receiving sexually explicit photos of a minor. Jared Webster admitted that back in 2023, he pulled a woman over for a traffic stop. He then asked the woman to step out of the car and asked her what she wanted to do to, quote, get out of this. The woman told Webster that she was not going to do anything for him, and that's when he handcuffed the woman and sexually assaulted her. Webster also admitted that between 2016 and 2018, he asked the minor to produce and send him sexually explicit images. The minor sent multiple photos to Webster at his request, at least one of which constituted child sexual abuse material. Webster pled guilty to 1 count of deprivation of rights under color of law and 1 count of sexual exploitation of children. He is scheduled to be sentenced on May 20th. For the charge of deprivation of rights under color of law, Webster faces a maximum penalty of life in prison, 5 years of supervised release, and a fine of up to $250,000. For the child sexual exploitation charge, he faces a prison term of 15 to 30 years, a supervised release term of 5 years to life, and a fine of up to $250,000.
Former Marana Police Department dispatcher is behind bars on charges of sexual exploitation of a minor. This is video of 31-year-old Dalton Wayne Jones making his first appearance in front of a judge. He's facing 5 counts of sexual exploitation of a minor. According to court documents, the Pima County Sheriff's Department executed a search warrant at his home last Thursday. There, they found several storage devices with images and videos of child sexual abuse. The Marana Police Department confirmed with me just moments ago that he was a dispatcher and was put on imposed leave on Thursday when Marana PD was contacted by PCSD, and he was officially fired yesterday. He's being held on a $75,000 bond.
Now to a disturbing story in D.C. Today, a judge ordered a former D.C. police officer be held behind bars while he faces sex trafficking charges.
Yeah, prosecutors accuse Linwood Barnhill of exploiting teen girls in D.C. And he's been convicted of sex trafficking minors before, more than a decade ago.
Yeah, our Matt Gregory went to his hearing today. So Matt, tell us what happened in the courtroom.
I mean, at the hearing, guys, Linwood Barnhill walked in and he seemed to shake as he spoke with his attorney. Now, a detention hearing usually has a presentation of evidence and a defense of those charges as to whether or not Barnhill should have stayed behind bars as he awaits trial. But in this case, Barnhill's attorney waived the hearing, and afterwards she told me off camera he is innocent. But Linwood Barnhill, for most of the 1990s and the early 2000s, was a sworn MPD officer until 2014. In 2014, he resigned because he pleaded guilty to multiple child sex crimes, including child pornography and selling a teenage girl for sex. Now, he served 7 years in prison, but prosecutors in the courtroom today claim he's out and he's doing it again. This time, police say he ran an underage pimping operation that used a Maryland club. Court documents say he had the girls lie to the club to get hired to dance, then sold the girls for sex. Now, the documents go further, and they say he recruited girls in North Carolina and Florida, and he's also accused of raping one of the girls he trafficked. Now, upon his arrest, officers say they found women's lingerie, dancing shoes for women, and several books on the topic of pimping. In the courtroom, Barnhill's attorney accepted his detention order while he awaits trial, but she also informed the judge Barnhill has several medical issues and asked he be moved to correctional treatment facility while he awaits his next trial date, or his next court date, rather. That next court date is a preliminary hearing, basically a presentation of evidence and initial defense by his attorney, and that'll be on May 22nd here at District Court at 12 noon. In downtown D.C., I'm Matt Gregory. Back to you.
Yeah, hopefully some of those young girls are getting the much-needed help right now. My goodness.
After all of that trauma, alleged trauma, we should say. All right, Matt, thank you.
A police officer arrested on child pornography charges, Patrick Hosford, is being held on a $500,000 bond and has now been fired from the Oak Ridge North Police Department.
And as our Puja Lodia shows us, he'd only been with the department for a few months.
We just received court documents related to this case. We can't tell you the details in those documents because they're too explicit to say on television. But we can tell you that this now former police officer has been accused of possessing 10 child pornography videos. He was arrested as part of an internet sting. We're looking for any information you have on the arrest of Patrick Hosford.
No, we have no comment.
No comment at the home of Patrick Hosford. The 25-year-old is in jail, charged with 10 counts related to child pornography. His jail booking shot now more relevant than his ID photo at the Oak Ridge Police Department.
It puts a negative light on all of us in law enforcement. The one thing that I stress to all new hires and applicants when we interview them is you do not discredit yourself, you do not discredit this department, and you do not discredit the city.
Just last year, Hosford graduated from the police academy and went through a field training program with Conroe Police. But he resigned soon afterward. A spokesperson today said he did not meet the standards of the Conroe Police Department. He had only been at Oak Ridge North for about 2 months, and today the chief said he doesn't believe Hosford used any city equipment for illegal activity.
He had no criminal history. He had no negative references from the reference checks during the background. And we hired him, and he came on board on October 30th of 2024.
We're going to do everything we can as far as going back and reviewing our protocols for hiring to make sure that we're not missing anything, because this gentleman did go under the radar undetected.
Puja Lodia, ABC 13 Eyewitness News.
A former Lancaster police officer charged with rape and attempted rape of 5 different victims wants to have his 5 cases tried separately. Andrew Selby's charged with assaulting 5 victims between the ages of 11 and 16 between 1994 and 1999. News 8 received the Lancaster County District Attorney's response asking the court to deny Selby's request and allow the cases to be tried together. The DA says there is minimal risk of the jury being unable to separate the evidence, and when considered together, the cases establish a course of conduct of sexually abusing girls.
A former police officer in both Oklahoma and Kansas has been convicted of child sex abuse.
OSBI says 34-year-old Brock England served as an officer for both Wichita, Kansas and the Enid Police Departments from 2014 to 2022. Agents say England committed, quote, multiple child sex crimes in both states, some of which were during his time as an officer. In March of 2023, England was arrested and booked into the Garfield County Jail, and now he, if found guilty of child
sex abuse with a minor and 2 counts of lewd molestation. We will keep you updated when that sentencing is handed down.
City police officer and school resource officer is now under indictment as well. He's facing multiple charges, including sexual abuse by a custodian. Our Robert Castillo shares more.
Former Princeton Police Sergeant Christopher Chad Butler was indicted by a Mercer County grand jury this week on 2 charges. One of Butler's charges is sexual abuse by a person in a position of trust to a child. Butler's indictment alleges he had sexual relations with a student while performing security duties as a school resource officer at Princeton Senior High School between August of 2023 and January of 2024.
I just want everybody to know that the department and myself, we have cooperated 100% with this investigation, and we will continue to do so. And the department and myself, we do not condone this type of activity. We never have and never will.
Howell says Butler was placed on administrative leave last January pending a West Virginia State Police investigation and an internal probe. Howell says before those investigations were complete, Butler resigned in February of last year.
I would encourage that if there are any more victims that pertain to Butler or any type of this activity, that if they would please come forward.
Butler is also charged with gross neglect of a child, creating substantial risk of death or serious bodily injury. His indictment alleges he allowed a child to brandish a pistol recklessly in September of 2023. Butler's case is being handled by Monroe County's prosecuting attorney, Justin St. Clair, to avoid any conflicts of interest. Here for you in Princeton, Robert Castillo, WVVA News.
Now, WVVA also reached out to a representative with Mercer County Schools for a statement on this matter, but as of airtime, we have not received a response. It's also unclear whether or not Butler is incarcerated right now and when any future court appearances may occur, but we will continue to follow this case. Now
Sentencing is now scheduled for a former Tennessee Department of Corrections officer. He was convicted of child rape and the continuous sexual abuse of a child. A jury found Rustin Bowen guilty on more than 16 counts, including several child victims. According to the department, Bowen started working for TDOC in 2011. He was also a statewide tactical coordinator who was not assigned to any specific facility. Bowen was placed on leave in 2022. He was arrested and then fired soon after. He is in jail without bond until his sentencing in February.
Hays County Sheriff's Corrections Officer facing multiple child assault charges tonight. 35-year-old George Snell, arrested by the Guadalupe County Sheriff's Office yesterday. He's facing 2 counts of aggravated sexual assault of a child and 2 counts of indecency with the child. His charges related to an investigation that began in August of last year. Snell worked for the Hays County Sheriff's Office since 2022. He was fired yesterday.
Sounds good. Well, a former Henniger police officer is free on bond this afternoon after his arrest in a DeKalb County child porn sting operation. 40-year-old Joshua Kwan was booked and released from the DeKalb County Jail early this morning. Let's go straight out to Savannah Sapp, who's live from the DeKalb County Sheriff's Office. Savannah, what are you hearing from law enforcement?
Well, Margot, Henniger Police Chief Randall Smith declined to speak on camera about this arrest, but as we spoke on the phone this morning, he tells me that this is just a sad day for law enforcement. He tells me Joshua Kwan was immediately let go after the news broke of his arrest. Now, Joshua Kwan was an officer at the Henniger Police Department and various other agencies across the DeKalb County area. He is charged with public dissemination or display of obscene material involving someone under 17. Investigators with the Sheriff's Office say investigators who are a part of the Alabama's Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force, they received a tip that a certain social media account was being used to share child pornography. From there, investigators searched a home in Jackson County where they found and searched multiple electronic devices, secured IP addresses, and interviewed multiple witnesses. Kwan was identified as a suspect involved in the sharing of that material, and he was arrested and booked into the DeKalb County Jail. Investigators say Kwan was using a popular messaging app called Kik while he was involved in the crime. And Sheriff Nick Weldon with the DeKalb County Sheriff's Office, he said in a statement today that it's really difficult to deal with cases involving one of their own police officers, but he says, quote, officers are held to the highest standards and any misconduct will not be overlooked or tolerated. Reporting in Fort Payne, I'm Savannah Sapp, 48 News, on your side.
We do have breaking news coming into the 18 newsroom right now. A Steuben County Sheriff's deputy now faces federal child pornography charges. Deputy Stuart J. McHenry is from Hornell. He's now charged with distribution and receipt of child pornography. In the federal court system, he faces 5 to 20 years in prison. The U.S. Attorney's Office says an investigation started last May after a tip. A warrant was served on McHenry's home in Hornell. Investigators say they found 2 cell phones with more than 20 child porn files. We don't have a mugshot for him because it's in the U.S. system, and the U.S. system does not provide mugshots. The U.S. Attorney says the FBI led the investigation and the Steuben County Sheriff's Office participated. McHenry will stay in custody until detention hearing can be held. We don't have a date for when that might happen.
KPRC2 discovers that the now former HPD captain arrested on child sex crime charges is well aware of how those cases are handled. 59-year-old Darren Edwards, once one of the city's top cops, is now the center of the same type of crime he was once trained to investigate. We want to thank you for joining us this evening. I'm Keith Garvin. Daniela Guzman is off tonight. Edwards has been released from his duties as a captain for HPD's Auto Theft Division. He's being held in the Galveston County Jail on charges of child pornography, aggravated sexual assault, and sexual performance of a child. KPRC2 reporter Corley Peel joins us with a look at his work history.
What's disturbing about this is we've learned Darren Edwards knows exactly how these investigations work. Records show he has 60 hours worth of training for child abuse prevention and investigation, and now he's in jail after someone walked in here to the League City Police Department to let officers know he's accused of sexually assaulting a child for years. With his head down, handcuffs wrapped around his wrist, Darren Edwards makes his way into the Galveston County Jail. New court documents reveal the disturbing crimes he's now accused of. This affidavit shows Darren would send sexually explicit messages to the victim from his phone. Detectives found she was asked and sometimes bribed with money to send Darren nude pictures of herself, which she agreed to do to keep Darren from becoming upset. He told her he could ruin her life with them. Edwards is also accused of having hidden cameras that captured explicit acts. Edwards' work history paints a different picture. The 32-year veteran, well known in HPD. KPRC2 Investigates found he was demoted from assistant chief to commander in 2021 following the Astroworld tragedy. During that time, KPRC2 obtained his file showing he had outstanding reviews. This one says Captain Edwards is loyal to the department and continues to set examples for the people. In 2019, KPRC2 interviewed Edwards. He saved sportscaster Mark Langston during a medical emergency at an Astros game.
According to his doctors, he doesn't have any damage. There's no damage. It's truly a miracle.
Now that he's charged with multiple child sex crimes, HPD released him from his duties. In the court documents, it indicates that there could be another minor involved. The League City Police Department tells me that they're not ruling out that there could be more victims. They are asking anyone with any information to come forward. In League City, Corley Peel, KPRC 2 News.
Tonight, a former Dartmouth police officer convicted of child rape is no longer in custody. A judge has nullified a jury's conviction. It's a rare decision. NBC 10's Kennedy Buck talked with the Bristol County DA.
It's been a legal game of back and forth in the case of former Dartmouth police officer Sean Souza. In October of 2024, a jury found Souza guilty of multiple counts of rape of a child and indecent assault and battery. He was then sentenced to 10 to 15 years, but a ruling by Judge Susan Sullivan has reversed this conviction.
The judge's action essentially nullified the jury verdict and ordered a new trial. So it took away the guilty verdict that was rendered by the jury unanimously.
Souza now out of custody and potentially awaiting a new trial, which would be his third after the first one in 2022 resulted in a hung jury.
After the conviction, the defense filed a motion to enter findings of not guilty. There was no basis of it.
Bristol County DA Thomas Quinn says he's unsure of the reasons behind the court's decision. He says the judge pointed out evidence she felt should have been excluded from the trial. Plus, an organization who would show up to the courtroom to support one of the victims raised issues for her.
Asked for a hearing and were denied. So I've never really seen anything like this in my career of over 35 years.
The state has now appealed the decision. The state has now appealed that decision. Could you all also maybe call into question the judge? Could a decision be made there?
Just tried to bring to light to the court, what the law applies. That's how it's supposed to work. And the judge's conduct, it undermines the jury verdict and the jury system. And people's confidence that justice is being done in the court system in these cases.
Kennedy Buck, NBC 10 News.
Parents from Mercer County are facing serious charges tonight regarding child sexual abuse. Detectives on this case are outraged as the accused mom and dad have been in law enforcement a combined nearly 40 years. Action News reporter Brianna Smith now with more on the disturbing allegations.
Residents we spoke to say they're stunned and sickened by the allegations. They say they never thought this law enforcement couple who has served the community for decades could do something like this behind closed doors. A viewer sent us this photo of several New Jersey state troopers at Brian and Elizabeth DiBiase's home in Hamilton Township before they were arrested on Wednesday. The state attorney general says the husband and wife, both in law enforcement, are charged in connection with creating, producing, and distributing images of child sexual abuse.
When you hear something like this, it's kind of sickening and painful to hear.
Records show 39-year-old Brian has worked with the Hamilton Township Police Department for 21 years, while 42-year-old Elizabeth has been employed by the Mercer County Sheriff's Office for 18 years.
You trust law enforcement for everything, for help. It's hard to tell who's good and who's bad because you don't know.
The AG says on Tuesday, investigators received a tip that Brian allegedly distributed multiple files online showing nude images of his wife in the presence of children. He's also accused of mentioning children being present while he and his wife had sex.
People look like normal people, and sometimes they're monsters underneath. And that's scary.
The Hamilton Township mayor and police chief said in a statement, quote, Hamilton Township has zero tolerance for crimes of this nature. We remain fully committed to upholding the highest standards of integrity and accountability within our community and our police department.
Now to our other top story here at home today. A former law enforcement cadet is now facing charges for sex crimes against children. And we now know more charges may be in the works. Affidavits from Live Oak Police say the victims identified so far were under 14 years old. GANS 5's Sue Kalberg has the rest of the story.
The arrest was made here in Live Oak last night, but these affidavits say the abuse goes back to at least May of last year. 29-year-old Jonathan Carlos Luzardo was led away in handcuffs last night, and they say so far he's facing 2 felony counts. But as they gather more evidence, there may be more charges to come. Court documents allege the abuse happened both at the suspect's home in the Auburn Hills neighborhood in Live Oak and other locations around the San Antonio area. The arrest affidavit details how 2 young victims made outcry statements where they told counselors that Luzardo had been abusing them over a long period of time. Investigators said text messages from the 2 victims detailed dates when the attacks allegedly happened. One concern that's not mentioned in the affidavit but confirmed by officials is that until February, Luzardo had been a cadet in the Law Enforcement Academy at San Antonio College. They say he left the program on his own. So far, bonds for Luzardo totaled $300,000 and he remains jailed. Investigators here in Live Oak say anybody with a clue that might help them should call their non-emergency line. That's 210-653-0033. In Live Oak, Sue Kalberg, GANS 5.
200 people are facing charges tonight accused of sex crimes against children. The Department of Justice and the FBI announced those arrests today that are the result of a 5-day sting.
Children and their families now have a chance to heal. Think about this. 115 victims, children. In 5 days, we were able to help.
Well, among those arrested is a Minnesota State Trooper and member of the National Guard. Jeremy Plonsky appeared in federal court as we learned of the egregious allegations against him. Rena Sargentopoulos joins us with the details. Rena?
Julie, it was a quick hearing this morning at which Plonsky waived his right to a preliminary hearing, meaning it will expedite the process and will move this to a trial much sooner. The U.S. Attorney's Office called the allegations against Plonsky horrifying and a gross betrayal of public trust. In court documents we obtained this afternoon, authorities allege Plonsky filmed himself sexually assaulting an infant on multiple occasions. He then allegedly sent those videos to a person who he was in a relationship with over the social app Kik. Prosecutors say those incidents happened sometime between 2022 and 2023. In the criminal complaint, Plonsky admits to sending those videos, and the State Patrol says Plonsky has been employed with their department since 2022. Plonsky is in the custody of the Sherburne County Jail tonight. He is charged with first-degree criminal sexual conduct of a minor. If convicted, he faces a minimum of 12 years in prison. Julie?
Thank you, Rena.
Well, John Giarrusso has pleaded not guilty to all of the charges, and those charges are disturbing. John Giarrusso, seen here back in 2020 when he was being commended for his police work, is now charged with possession and distribution of child pornography. Haverhill police got a tip from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, and it led them to a social media account linked to Giarrusso's name and date of birth. That account depicting disturbing and explicit videos involving children. Giarrusso is accused of uploading to Kik, a chat and messaging app, 5 videos that show children, some as young as 6 years old, being sexually molested and raped by adults. The criminal complaint also says the Seabrook officer engaged in graphic conversations with other Kik users about arranging to have sex with their wives and young daughters. We did stop by Giarrusso's house here in Haverhill. His wife declined comment and is asking for privacy for her family. Haverhill investigators also revealed that Giarrusso was active in fundraising for organizations that help abused children heal. And this isn't the first time he's made headlines, but in the past, Giarrusso was hailed as a hero. The Eagle Tribune reports he was one of the people credited for helping save lives during a deadly riptide on Seabrook Beach in 2018. And in 2020, Giarrusso was featured on our sister station WMUR for helping a 95-year-old World War II veteran whose heat went out in a bitter cold snap. Giarrusso is free on $100,000 bail. The Seabrook police have put him on administrative leave. He is due back in court April 2nd. In Haverhill, I'm Mary Saladna, WCVB News Center 5.
Now, former Harrison police officer is at the center of a criminal investigation accused of secretly recording an underage girl. Now, that's according to Miami Township Police. Thanks for joining us at 10. I'm Ken Brown. Rob and Tricia have the night off. Our Brittany Harry has some new information on this case tonight. She joins us live at the Harrison Police Department with more. Brittany.
Yeah, hey, Ken. So 45-year-old Eric Gregory was placed on administrative leave pending an investigation out of Claremont County. But now we've learned that he has resigned from his position as a Harrison police officer, of course, here in Harrison. He started working for the police department in 2021. This is Eric Gregory being booked into the Claremont County Jail. That's where he remains tonight, facing voyeurism and tampering with evidence charges. On Thursday, Miami Township Police say they responded to a home after receiving a voyeurism complaint involving a juvenile. Court records say Gregory allegedly filmed the juvenile in the bathroom with a concealed camera found in a floor vent. When confronted about the camera, court records say Gregory took it, removed the SD card, cut it up, and flushed it down the toilet. He then, according to court records, smashed the camera with a hammer and placed pieces of it in his right pocket before leaving the home. According to court documents, Gregory allegedly admitted to having a, quote, voyeur fetish problem. They say he also confessed he was recording underage girls who used the restroom for sexual gratification. We looked into Gregory's record and learned he previously worked for the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office and Terrace Park Police Department. He was also employed with Great Parks of Hamilton County from 2013 to 2021 until he resigned while under investigation. We reached out about the investigation. A document from the Parks Department says while Gregory was a ranger, he made negative comments and implied there were leadership issues with the Rangers Department supervisors. The records show this happened before he was employed with the Harrison Police Department. So Gregory's case will be presented to a grand jury on January 30th. He is being held in the Claremont County Jail on a $250,000 bond. Miami Township Police, who are investigating, are asking anyone who might have information about this investigation to contact them, or if you've had any encounters with Gregory, to give police a call. We have contact information for you right now on our website, fox19now.com. I'm reporting live in Harrison. Brittany Harry, Fox 19 Now.
A Bangor officer is on paid leave after responding to a citizen predator sting this week. News 8's Josh Sanchez has more on the investigation from the Kalamazoo studio.
That's right. The Bangor Police Department says it's aware of a video showing an alleged solicitation of a minor and a group reporting that incident to an officer. The video comes from a group called Bikers Against Predators and is just one example of the online group's many predator stings.
Howdy, officer.
On Wednesday, January 1st, the group Bikers Against Predators posted a Facebook Live video where the team says a man was attempting to meet a minor in Bangor. Police show up after the team questioned the man.
What type of service do you want from me?
The group and the officer get into a dispute, filing a report.
Well, file a police report for a crime being committed. It's acoustic of a minor for moral purposes.
A member of the group explains what type of material they would provide the police during the back and forth.
What documentation? A full report of what you're doing. Oh, absolutely. Well, that's why we're here. We're calling you here to file a police report. I'm going to have that in writing. What do you mean in writing? Want him arrested? Well, that's not my job. That's your job.
The president of Bikers Against Predators says he understands there's a lot involved before an arrest can be made, but just wanted an initial report on file.
As law enforcement officers, we have to do better as just people and showing respect. And, you know, they're hired to serve and protect. And I believe that on this day, our community was let down by law enforcement.
The group later posted screenshots of an online dispute with a man they say is a Bangor Police Reserve officer.
As you can see in the statements we posted that he was making, violent. We should be violent with these individuals and then post their names and things like that. It's like, I think that really put a bad taste in our mouth.
City manager and police chief Justin Weber says the initial case is being taken seriously.
Police came down and spoke to the parties that were there. The individual has a mental disability, and it appears that maybe his cognitive abilities are pretty limited. But the case is being investigated and turned over to the Van Buren County Prosecutor's Office.
In a statement posted by the city Thursday, it says the officer involved in the incident has been placed on administrative leave pending an internal personnel investigation. The volunteer reserve officer is no longer with the city. Now, while the investigation is ongoing, Weber says the Bangor Police Department is going to use the situation as a learning opportunity to better prepare its officers to handle these types of calls. In the Kalamazoo studio, Josh Sanchez, News 8.
All right, thank you, Josh.
Pagan has been with the Ohio State Highway Patrol, but has now been placed on administrative leave.
Appearing via video conference, the Ohio State Highway Patrol trooper did not talk during his bond hearing.
So he has a stable environment in which he lives, no record. He's not incentivized to flee.
His attorney, Sam Szymanski, argued the 23-year-old does not have a record and has dedicated his life to service. His parents were in the courtroom.
As any parents would be, they're scared to death. The good news is that Judge Brandstuhl, who's an outstanding and fair-minded jurist, is going to preside over this case and preside fairly.
According to court records, in December, Heath Police Department received a cyber tip from the Ohio Internet Crimes Against Children Unit that a known child sex abuse picture had been uploaded to a Dropbox account on August 9th, 2024. Investigators found that Dropbox belonged to Pagan. On January 30th, Heath Police, along with the Franklin County ICAC team, searched Pagan's home. According to court records, Pagan admitted he used the Dropbox account and had downloaded the materials and viewed them.
Assume for a minute, if you want to, that they're true. I haven't seen the nature of the images. It certainly is not a good situation for him in any way, shape, or form. But we still understand, of course, that he's innocent unless and until. I have no idea what the evidence looks like.
Pagan joined the Ohio State Highway Patrol in 2023 and was based out of the Granville Post. In a statement, the Ohio State Highway Patrol said the patrol is aware of the charges against employee Anthony Pagan, which do not reflect the values of the agency. Immediate action was taken by placing Mr. Pagan on administrative leave without pay while criminal investigation is conducted.
It's a horribly difficult position for anybody. 23-year-old kid whose whole life is wrapped up in public service and being a good highway patrolman now finds himself on this flip side. It's horrible.
Pagan is being held on a $10,000 bond. In Licking County, Lacey Crisp, 10 TV News.
The big story today, life in prison. That is the sentence for a former Baltimore police officer convicted of sexual abuse at his ex-wife's daycare. You may remember this story as James Weems Jr. has been behind bars since his conviction last year. This for abusing a child at Little Kids Castle Daycare in Owings Mills. Back in March, the parent of the victim filed a civil lawsuit to hold Weems financially accountable. His ex-wife, Shantira Young, also in prison for shooting Weems after she learned about that abuse.
There are some shocking new details today about the San Diego State University police officer now facing federal child pornography charges.
We have learned that he is a father of 3 and a sergeant on the campus police department. NBC7's Allison Ash has been on campus all day looking for answers. She joins us now with details of the criminal complaint. Allison.
Yeah, and I got to say, most of those details are so graphic and so sickening that we can't even talk about them on TV. San Diego State Campus Police this afternoon did confirm what we had already learned through the U.S. Attorney in Los Angeles, and that is that Sergeant Paul McLean was arrested last week on child pornography charges. These photos show Sergeant Paul McLean on campus with a police canine. In the last 24 hours since his arrest went public, they disappeared from San Diego State's website. McLean's name now appears on this criminal complaint filed by the U.S. Attorney in Los Angeles. It details how last July, a cybercrimes investigator made contact online with a host computer displaying images of child pornography. That computer was linked to McLean's Menifee home. Investigators found multiple videos depicting child pornography, the complaint reads, including prepubescent child pornography. Some children seen in the videos appear to be as young as 8 to 10 years old. The complaint says the investigator watched McLean's house, seeing his San Diego State University police vehicle coming and going. The university police chief was unavailable to comment on the charges today, but students we spoke to had plenty to say.
This is crazy stuff, and I'm hearing new information from you about how the investigation started 9 months ago. It's just crazy stuff. Why are we letting that go on for under people that we're supposed to trust?
I mean, I think it's really disgusting. I think it's disappointing that people that we want to put our trust in and that we want to rely on are acting this way and doing these really heinous things. I think it's really disgusting.
Campus police have already begun termination process for McLean. Right now, he is being held without bail and is due back in court on April 1st. And of course, we'll let you know what happens then. Reporting live on the San Diego State campus, Allison Ash, NBC7.
Okay, thank you, Allison.
New tonight, a correctional officer accused of paying kids for explicit photos and videos.
Authorities say the man worked at the jail in Walworth County until last week when state agents closed in. 12 News' Nick Bohr reports from Whitewater, where police say the man reached out to children over the internet.
Following a cyber tip, Whitewater Police and Wisconsin Department of Justice agents arrested 40-year-old Samuel Pieper last Thursday after linking him to online child enticement, exploitation, and trafficking of children.
Count 1 charges sexual exploitation of a child.
In court Tuesday, Pieper wept as the judge spelled out the charges he's facing. Prosecutors say the Walworth County correctional officer developed online relationships with a 14-year-old boy in Washington State and a 17-year-old boy in Arkansas. According to the criminal complaint, Pieper paid them to take off their clothes on camera, admitting to investigators that, quote, approximately once every other week, he would provide money to people in exchange for them to do things and provide videos or images. Pieper resigned his position as a correctional officer here at the Walworth County Jail the same day he was questioned by state agents from the Department of Justice. He was charged the next day. According to the complaint, police in each state interviewed the boys who provided evidence of their contact with Pieper. Because of his work in the Walworth County Jail, Pieper is being held in neighboring Jefferson County. In Whitewater, Nick Bohr, WISN 12 News.
Walworth County Sheriff Dave Gerber announced a statement to 12 News, reading in part, "This is an isolated incident involving off-duty conduct, and our agency wants to ensure the public we are disgusted with this type of behavior and do not tolerate it."
West Allis police sergeant is arrested and charged with having and viewing child pornography. 73-year-old Robert Reynolds is facing 4 charges of possession of child porn, a warrant for the result of 3 cyber tips of child sexual assault material originated at Reynolds' home in his internet service. According to the criminal complaint, Reynolds told investigators that he habitually viewed child pornography, and as long as he stops viewing it, then it is no harm, no foul.
When a child experiences trauma, they can be stripped of their ability to imagine. But imagination is colors. All the colors. Imagination is freedom. And whatever you want it to be. But a child without imagination is not a child at all. Will you help defend our right to imagine?